Welcome to Reach Out, the program that highlights the amazing work carried out by local nonprofits, the wonderful people who lead these organizations, and the committed volunteers who give of themselves but wind up receiving even more. I'm Bernadette Wagner, Director of Volunteer Washington County, and I'm so happy to have Sandy Shepard and Ann Mazingo as my guests today. Sandy and Ann are members of Hagerstown Business and Professional Women's Club and co-chairs of the Women of the Year. HBPW works diligently to support working women through advocacy, education, and information. Today they will tell us a little bit about their organization, their annual events, the scholarships they provide to local girls, and how interested individuals can join this wonderful organization. Welcome, Sandy and Ann. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so glad you're here. Sandy, maybe we can start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of HBPW?
Sure. The Hagerstown Business and Professional Women's Club's been around for quite some time. Nationally, the organization was established in 1929, so we go back quite a ways. In Hagerstown, we actually established our organization in 1936,
okay.
Well over 75 years ago. We like to tell people in the area that if they've been in the area very long and their family's originally from the Hagerstown area, chances are very good that their mother, their aunt, their grandmother was involved in BPW or benefited from some of our programs and our initiatives.
And how many members do you currently have?
We currently have probably 25 members or so. We used to be a much larger organization, so we're actively recruiting new members all the time. But as the community changes and people come and go, we pick up new members and we lose some of the older members, but we're happy to have people who might be interested in joining us.
That's terrific. Ann, maybe you can tell us a little bit about this scholarship program that I know your organization offers to local young women.
Yes, we've been doing the scholarship for many years. We've given it to a lot of young ladies over the years. The past 4 years, we gave it to Tessa Walls, who was a graduate of Hancock High School, and she ended up getting her bachelor's in psychology, and now she's actually working on her master's program. But we're currently not doing graduate programs. We like to stick with the local high school students. So we just awarded our most recent scholarship of $500 each to 2 young ladies from Washington County. One was for Michaela Brewer, who was a graduate of South High, and the other one, Natalie Tobry, who is from Boonesboro. And so they were at our last meeting, and we had a great time meeting them and encouraging them in their schoolwork.
And so I imagine there's an application process that goes along with this. Can you tell us a little bit about the application process, how young girls might find out about the opportunities, and also what you are looking for when you're reviewing the scholarship?
Sure. Well, Sandy has more of that information because she was actually on the scholarship committee. But we send it out via email and mail to all of the high schools so that they have it and know what we have to offer. And then the students are encouraged to respond to that. And then those are screened by the guidance counselors at the schools and then returned to our club. And then our scholarship committee reviews them and makes a decision. I think this year we had 16
right.
applicants for the scholarship.
Sandy, can you tell us what it is that you're looking for?
Well, when we review their applications, we look not just for good grades, but a lot of involvement in the school organizations, leadership, opportunities and what they've taken advantage of to become leaders in their schools. But we also look at need, because we often feel that there are a lot of scholarships that students can access if they have excellent grades and are leaders in their schools, but sometimes the need that students have is greater and they're caught in that middle ground. They're not quite needy enough to really benefit from scholarships available to people who have certain income levels, but yet they definitely have a need. So, so we look for that in reviewing the scholarships. We look for the potential of what that young person plans to do in the future, what they're going to study. If we feel that a young person might be on a path to a career that doesn't seem to be something that coincides with their grades and their application form, we might hesitate to award the scholarship to that person.
So you're really helping them fulfill their potential.
That's correct. That's correct. And we're very delighted to do that.
Well, that's very generous of you, of your organization as well. And I know that you have a program, Woman of the Year. Would either of you care to talk about that?
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about Woman of the Year because we think that's one of our highlights of our Business and Professional Women's Year. Every fall we select a Woman of the Year from the community, not necessarily a BPW member, but someone who has distinguished themselves by outstanding service to their community, in their business and profession, or volunteer activities. But we look for someone that could be a role model to other young women in the community who may have done some mentoring or guidance with young people, someone that we want to hold up as this is someone we all should try to emulate.
Oh, that sounds like a great project. And Anne, I know that weren't you connected with the state organization?
Yes, I was. For actually, Sandy and I go back a long way in the BPW.
Oh, okay, you were there too.
Sandy, yes, she joined in 1972 and I joined in 1973. So that's a long time ago, and since that time we've fostered a great bond of friendship. So that's another advantage of being in the club. But yes, I was involved in early years when we had a program called Individual Development, and it was to help women to learn to speak extemporaneously and to be in the public eye and to be willing to step forward, because there were a lot in the 70s and 80s. There were a lot of issues that we had to really work on because we weren't recognized as much as we are now in the workforce, and weren't able to have equal pay for the jobs that we were doing. So we were very much in the forefront. So that was a program that I was involved with at a state level with young people. And Sandy was, in her early years, came to BPW through a program that we had called the Young Careerist.
That's right.
And so she was our state Young Careerist one year as well.
That's super. Do you want to mention that? We have just a few seconds.
Well, that program actually got me involved in BPW because it provided mentors to me when I was like 21, 22 years old, starting a career for the first time. So there were a lot of people in BPW who really helped me as I grew into my career and profession.
That's terrific, because now you're there helping other young women. That's perfect.
Exactly.
Well, I'd like to thank Sandy and Ann for being my guests today, and thank you, our viewing audience, for joining us for today's program. The Hagerstown Business and Professional Women's Club offers something for almost every woman. This club celebrates women's contributions and advocates for women's issues, and in so doing makes our community healthier and stronger. Here's to hoping each of you will volunteer to share your talents and skills and help make our community stronger too. To find out more about this organization or volunteer opportunities, visit vwcmd.org. Thank you for joining me for Reach Out. See you next time.